I am now pursuing a career as an author. Hello, welcome back. If this is your first time, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Here, we discuss, we study, and we add knowledge so that we may know more and be more. I thought about our discussion today, and the only thing that kept coming back to my mind is the importance of knowledge. Yes, we always hear knowledge is power, knowledge is key or king, as the case may be. And of course, it's cliche, cliche, cliche. But could it be cliche because it is true? I think it is. I recently had an experience that further proved that knowledge is indeed key. I decided to kick off my career by writing my first book. And I went ahead and sent out invitations and all of those and preparation for my book release 2 months ago. It was a double celebration, a double event, because it was also a milestone birthday for me. And I did that because I had an idea in my head that whatever the case is, this book should be good to go by this date. And so I went ahead and started writing my heart out. I decided to get professional help by enrolling in a publishing school. I did that because it was getting close to finishing. So I needed to start getting ready for publishing. And because I was going to be self published, I needed to get professional help for that. And by the time I had my first meeting with my publishing coach, I was almost deflated. She told me the milestones that I still had to cover. And I thought about the date of the release. I said to her, I already have a date. She said, well, I would advise you don't get hung up on that date because what you want is to release a good book, a professionally written book, a book that is worthy of the public and not to keep to a date. Well, I still tried to see how I could meet the date. So I went to work. And I tell you, that date was unrealistic because I didn't have adequate knowledge of what it entails to publish a book. The milestones were several. First, she told me that after the manuscript, I had to self edit 3 times, and she told me the format each of the edits will take before going to a professional editor. Why I didn't think that it was going to be a big deal to get my book ready within the time frame I had in mind was because I had written an ebook prior. I wrote a guide for my travel business at the time. And I mean, editing was done as well. But the idea I had about editing was grammatical and punctuation and, just generally arranging the book to come out clean and neat. And so that was what I had in mind. I didn't do the research enough to know that when you're writing a book as an author, it was a different arrangement altogether. It was not like just writing a guide, because that's what I wrote at the time, an ebook guide and uploading it at your back office on your website for sale. So I pretty much thought, I mean, whatever it is, editing, give or take a couple of days to be ready. I tried to push myself to meet that date. But the biggest deal of all was when I eventually went to the editors and ordered a sample edit. Believe me, by the time I got the feedback from the editors after they gave me the sample edits, wow, I knew that I was in for something bigger than I thought. The editing phase is threefold. We're talking about the content, developing that content. That's the first phase of editing before you go to grammar, punctuation, and all of those. And of course, there's also the proofreading, which is like the last part after formatting. So in between the first two edits, there's formatting and then there's proofreading. Suffice to say, there was all of that. There was professional description, there's also book cover, and several other things. Here I was with a date in hand. Thank God I found a way around it. Of course, whatever the case, it's not so easy to go out and tell people, oh, well, sorry, the book won't be ready. But I did that. I had to have a book release preview instead. And then I gave out some keepsakes, some, decorative books, and just so that people will have something to look forward to while waiting for the book to be ready for the public. And of course, there was a way for them to get on the waiting list through the QR code I put at the back of the book. Well, I'm saying all that to say, if I had taken the time to research and really know what publishing a book entails, I would have bridged that gap. I assumed that I knew something about editing, something about publishing a book. And I just had the thoughts, I had the idea of writing my first book and launching my career as an author. I didn't do the research to prepare me for the journey. But I'm glad that happened because now I have first-hand experience. By the way, my book is still not ready for the public, even though it's gone a long way, it's still not ready. That's because there's so much more to writing a book than just sitting down and saying, I will write a book. There you have it. That's first-hand experience of the power of knowledge. The gap, the gap between where you are and where you want to be can be breached by knowledge. Some will beg to differ. They'll say, oh, it's not just knowledge, it's who you know. Some say it's what you do. All of that is important. But how would you know who if you have to know? There's a knowing before you go to the person. How would you know who is the person that has information you need? You need to know before you go to whoever will help you bridge the gap. If it's about doing, you need to know before you can do. So, whichever way you look at it, there is knowledge involved. There is knowledge involved. Tell me, how has it been for you? What do you think knowledge has cost you or knowledge has helped you achieve? There are several ways you can acquire knowledge, of course, but the two main ways is first, getting knowledge from someone else's experience. That's when you go read a book that someone has poured their entire experience and their knowledge into. You buy it for a couple of bucks and then you read all of that and you get knowledge. Could be from buying a course, enrolling in a training. That's how you get knowledge from other people's experiences, from their explanations, from their theory, from what they know. The other way is experiential knowledge you get by doing. You are actually involved, you're interacting with the thing and you're getting knowledge from there. Or you're doing something like me. Today, I have experienced the milestones, what it takes to write a book, and that is not just to sit down and say you want to write a book, but there are several other intricacies that comes into play when you want to write a book. So yeah, knowledge is king indeed. Whether you're getting it theoretically by studying, reading, and all of that, or you're getting it practically by your own experience, any which way, there is knowledge at play somewhere. So tell me, how do you enjoy acquiring knowledge? Do you like to read? Do you like to go for courses, for trainings? Or do you like to have your hand in it, hands on? Even after you get your knowledge theoretically, if you don't apply it, it may not be of much use to you because it's the application that actually gives you the experience. So if you're not directly involved in the experience where you're interacting with it, if you study, you still have to apply to get the experience. And of course, there's the aspect of practicing and practicing. That is another topic for another day because as you continue to practice, you become. Well, I needed to share this about knowledge because it can never be overemphasized. Knowledge is indeed power. Knowledge is king. Go for knowledge. Get knowledge because it will make all the difference and it will really move you from where you are to where you want to be. So thank you for stopping by again today. I hope you got a thing or two from this video. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you will like this video, subscribe to the channel, and put your notification bell on so that we can get to discuss these concepts in subsequent videos, grow together as we learn together. Bye for now.